survivors do not report right away and choose to do so later in their lives, reporting a sexual assault can help seek justice and start the healing process. You can contact your local police, or you can make a report through a third party such as Clinic. For more information on third-party reporting or immediate counseling, information, or support, Clinic has a 24-hour sexual assault crisis line. We are providing you with the number in our press release today. Thank you, and I can now take any questions that you might have.
Does that seem to believe that there might be more victims?
We are unaware of any other survivors in this situation, but that's why we are here today, to make the public aware of the arrest and the charges in this case, and then give the information regarding David Buetti's employment history to make the public aware that this gentleman was working in the school system prior to these serious allegations. If anybody has information or they wish to speak with investigators, we do ask them to come forward and contact their local police. And if you are a survivor, we encourage you to talk to a trusted person. That could be a parent or a guardian, or to contact Clinic for any guidance regarding reporting.
Just to follow up on that question, how concerned are police that there are potentially other survivors, victims? Because if I'm reading this correctly, the alleged conduct took place literally as soon as this individual started, I guess, working. It's not that region, so I mean, that's
concerning. Yeah, and that's why we're bringing this information to the public and providing his employment history, so that people are made aware that this situation has happened and that these allegations were made, and the time frame provided, so that we can seek to provide that information to parents so that they can speak with their families and seek any assistance that they require. We also have victim services that they can contact, Clinic, anybody, and that's why we're here today, is to provide that information to the public so that they're aware of when he was working in the schools, and that there may be other people out there that may come forward.
Cool.
I know that he was employed as a teacher at all these other locations. I'm unaware of his status as a coach at the other schools. I do believe he was assisting in that capacity at some of the other schools in the city here, but he was a coach and a teacher at in Steinbach. We know that for sure.
Do you?
We have reached out to the school division to receive his employment history, and we've made them aware of these allegations and charges.
As a coach, do you know if he was overlapping with any other young people in sports communities, or was he doing any work that investigators want to explore those areas of overlap between him and young people?
We're not aware of any other overlap with any other like sports organizations or any other capacity where he was coaching or in a position of authority, but that's why we're here today, to release his name and inform the public of these charges, so that if there was any of that, they can reach out to their youth and just see if there's anything that they would like to talk about. You know, in these situations, victims and survivors, it's hard. And so they need to know that there's people out there that they can trust and that they can go to, especially with our youth. And that's why we're releasing that today. No, we're not aware of anything like that.
Happened during school hours? Can you provide any more details about these incidents?
It happened on school property, the allegations. We know that he was also working as a coach, so I would assume that would have been after hours practices and stuff like that, but nothing outside of any sort of planned school activities or during school hours.
So potentially these did happen during school hours?
Potentially.
What does it tell investigators that these reported assaults took place as soon as he started doing this?
Well, it's very concerning in any situation like this, and yeah, like I said, that's why we've come forward to provide the public with the information, and determine, you know, provide that so that people can come forward if there is other victims out there, and that they can make the report to the police, because it is concerning, I think, to anybody. As a parent myself, I would want to know if somebody was working at the school and that these allegations were made and these charges were laid in relation to any child at any school.
What about any, you know, further information on, you know, it says you received the reports and then some female students came forward, but any light into, was it a parent, were other teachers involved, or was it just the students themselves?
So the students in this situation came forward to a trusted person for them, and the school division reported it through the school social worker, and then in turn reported it to the RCMP.
Were the victims part of the same class or the same team?
My understanding is that all of the allegations and the charges are stemming from him working as a teacher and a coach at the school. I wouldn't want to get into specifics about that, just because we want to protect the survivors in this situation, but it was all in relation to school activities at the Steinbach Regional School.
It says he was released from custody with a number of conditions. Can you just help us understand what those conditions might be?
Yes, so a number of the conditions, specifically not to contact any of the victims in any way whatsoever. He's not to seek employment or keep employment at any position of a trust, or with any in a position of trust or authority over anybody under the age of 16. Not to attend schools, playgrounds, anywhere where somebody under the age of 16 ought to be or may be. Remain in Winnipeg, and remain at living at the address that he's to live at. Report any sort of change of that address to the Crown. Attend all of his court dates, and I think that's it.
Pardon my ignorance, but can you speak to what sexual interference might entail?
Sexual interference is a specific charge related to youth in most situations, and it's when somebody is interfering with any sort of idea of sexuality, or interfering with like touching that might not be necessarily deemed sexual because it's not touching someone's specific private areas, but it's a sexual nature, grooming, that kind of thing.
There's been lots of talk about the value of bringing a teacher's college to Manitoba, so if there are some educators or school staff who have a history or there is concerning behavior, members of the public can report to that entity. Is this a case where something like that would be valuable to the public in Manitoba?
I can't speak specifically to that. I'm not aware of what the school boards have in place for these kind of things. I think they would be able to talk for that specifically.
Can you say what sports?
Yes, he was coaching specifically at the Steinbach School rugby, and then I believe that's the only one that I'm aware of.